Hello BookTube and welcome to Triple Tag Tuesday. Today I'm going to be doing 3 tags. The first is the G tag created by Jim's Books, Reading, and Stuff. This is the 7th in his continuing alphabet series of book tags, and I will leave a link to his original video down below. G is for the Great American Novel. What do you consider the Great American Novel? So this is a Redux prompt. It first appeared in the A tag as part of the America question. And so let's see what else he did. This was a prompt I used for the A tag and had so many great answers that I am presenting it again. This can further be broken down into by century, 19th, 20th, and 21st century. So when Steve Donahue did his version of this tag, or NA tag, he broke it down by centuries. And I think maybe a few other booktubers who did this question, or did it in the same way, but I think Steve's really sort of got the ball rolling on breaking down the Great American Novel by century. So, obviously, I'm going to go with that route myself. So for the 18th century, there really isn't anything. Well, there's not really much in the way of an 18th century American novel. So, we begin with the 19th century. And for the 19th century, I'm going to go with The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn is a seminal classic of American literature, and I think definitely is a strong contender for the Great American Novel 19th century. For the 20th century, I'm going to go with The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck. Again, I think it's like a seminal classic of American literature. For the 21st century, I'm not entirely sure. I'm not as engaged with contemporary or near contemporary American literature, particularly literary fiction, or general fiction that can reach the audience, the critical praise and critical mass that a great American novel would need. So I'm not as familiar with 21st century candidates. G is for many countries like Guatemala, Guyana, Grenada, Greece, Greenland, Germany, Gabon, Guinea-Bissau, Guinea-Conakry and Georgia. The country, not the state. Although the state also counts. What was the last book you read by an author from a country beginning with G? Well, I don't particularly want to talk about the last proper book I read from Germany. That would be The Never-Ending Story by Michael Ende. But there is another German book I do want to talk about, and that is Culture in the Third Reich by Moritz Vollmer. It's a exploration of how the Nazis sort of took over German culture with their takeover in Germany, and how various Germans sort of reacted to it, either in support or in increasing levels of trepidation, and how the Nazis sort of took over and created levers of power within cultural production to where they could control who got published, what got distributed, what was played on the radio, and so on and so forth. And it is a very fascinating book, one of my favorite books from last year. G is for Georgia, the country. Have you read any books by Georgian authors or about Georgia? No, although I guess you can make the case for the Argonautica by Apollonius of Rhodes, because part of the Argonautica takes place in the kingdom of Colchis, which is on the Georgian coast of the Black Sea. But Georgia proper, because this is a millennia or so before Georgia, the country, existed. There is a history of Georgia that I've been wanting to pick up, that I'm blanking on the author's name right now, that had I not gone for a massive manga binge in June, I would have done the University of Chicago Press Sale Part 2, and I would have picked it up then, but I'll pick it up one of these days. G is for Gone with the Wind, set in the U.S. state of Georgia. Have you read Gone with the Wind? And if so, what did you think of it? So, I tried Gone with the Wind when I was in 8th grade. I think before the Christmas break. And I got maybe a chapter or two in before I bailed. So Gone with the Wind is a massive epic novel set in Georgia in the lead up to the Civil War, and into Reconstruction. And it's the story of a group of plantation owners and their families and wives, primarily wives at Scarlett O'Hara. And I want to say it's maybe the first or second chapter in that bill. I didn't like it. It wasn't that good. And honestly, I'm not fond of the movie either, so. G is for genre. Is there a book genre you would avoid? I try not to, but I think probably like self-help. I think it's a genre I would avoid. Or fiction. I try not to actively avoid any genre of fiction, but I think by happenstance I do avoid like romance. But I mean, it's not active, it's just I have no interest in picking any romances up. G is for Goodreads. If you use Goodreads, what are your statistics like? Books read, books want to read, average rating, book reviews written. I hate Goodreads. I'm not on it. And then, of course, if there are any other G prompts, you can add your own here. But I am kind of pressed for time for this Triple Tag Tuesday, so I'm going ahead and end it here because the 4 Children of the Apocalypse will be coming in about an hour. Well, 3 of the 4. Famine has a doctor's appointment today. So, yeah, Triple Tag Tuesday and 3 of the 4 Children of the Apocalypse. Oh my. Anyway, so I'll see you in a few minutes with the mid-year freakout tag. So until then, both thank you. Have a great afternoon and stay safe.